This is the AUTOart Nissan Skyline Z-Tune in silver. And when I first picked this model up, it was definitely light, but not as light as the typical composite AUTOart. I don't know if they added more ballast to it or if there was some structural needs that this had, so it required a little more internals to be metal or not, but it definitely felt a little bit heavier than what I'm used to. This is a composite model, by the way, if you didn't know already. So I'm going to go ahead and start with some of the most important parts about this model, starting with the back of the model. This model, again, this is a special Nissan Z-Tune. It does have a very nice exhaust. It's deep enough that you do get a sense of realism with the exhaust. The taillights are nicely done, look pretty close to the real thing. This emblem here is actually raised, which is really nice. So is this one. The key hole, I guess you'd call that, is an actual separate piece. The Nismo is nice and prominent there as well as the Z-Tune. You look further under, you can see the cooling elements of the car as well. I believe one is a diff cooler, the other is a transmission cooler from what I recall. Very nice. Let's go ahead and move to the front of the model. Very, very detailed headlights. This cover over them is nice and crystal clear. You do have the Z-Tune plate again. There is a lip, and we will see that in a much closer view soon. You also have, if you can see it, yep, the Nismo print that's on the intercooler. It's really nice. There are two horns here in the background. So, and those are kind of obligatory when it comes to the Z-Tune. If you move to the wheel detail, again, we'll get a closer shot of this. The wheels look very realistic. You have scripting on the tires. You do have a very nice, and you can tell it's a metallic disc. There's no valve stem. The paint on this model is flawless. There's not a scratch, scuff. It's covered perfectly and evenly. And the flake in the paint is nicely scaled correctly. The overall shape of this model is very good as well. Very accurate to the real thing. This is a fully opening model, which means that all the parts, all the openings open. And there you are, fully opened. Now let's take a closer look. Steering wheel with the Nissan in the center. You have the Nismo floor mats. If you look over to the door cart, you have all the power window and other controls. You do have a storage compartment. There's a speaker for the sound. You have the shifter, handbrake, and the seat. Very nicely done, nicely appointed. There is it's a nylon stitched seat belt, and there is a buckle further down on the floor there. You have carpeting, which looks very convincing. The gauges are very legible. If you look further on the floor, not only do you have the aluminum foot pedals, but you also have the footrest. You have the prominent GTR screen. The great thing about the foot pedals, they're raised, so they're not just a simple molded piece. Those are individual pieces that were put into this model. On the passenger side, you have much of the same, which is all good. Look at that panel with all of the switches there. Nice detail. Carbon fiber rear wing flap anyway. If you notice the carbon fiber, it doesn't have any shine to it. I'm going to say that's their version of what I call dry carbon fiber. It is a molded piece, so it's a plastic with basically, i.e. the Barago method, where the pattern's just basically molded in. And if you go to the front of the model, you have that as in the front as well. So again, it's a nice, actually I like the way that looks. And the only thing I think is a little off is that I would have expected it to have a shine to it. Closer look at that front grille. You can see the two horns in the front. You have that nice Nismo. Now personally, I would have loved if that Z-tune was not in the way so I could see more of that Nismo. I wonder if I can remove that. Perforated grills everywhere. On the side profile, and then here are the wheels up close. You do have the scripting. You have the nice little Nismo print. You have the Brembo brakes. There is no valve stem. And I know some of you always want to know about this. I can tell you last time that AUTOart, with the exception of maybe their signature models, have a working suspension. This does not. The wheels do turn, but the suspension, there's no, I can't push this down and there's no springs or anything like that. Here's the rear wheel and tire combination. Got the Potenzos on there. Nice. It's not cross drilled, but it's a slotted rotor. And again, that prominent Brembo on the back. Closer look at the back. I really do like the lights. It's that Skyline print on the back of it. And I do like that the Nissan symbol is an actual piece. It was put there. It's not just some decal. Just really nice. The same thing goes for the keyhole mechanism. It's very nice. And of course you have the GTR there. The trunk does open. It does have a very, very good mechanism to hold it up. It's not much to see there. It's just flocking. It's nice that it's there. If you notice through here as well, inside the car anyway, you do have the flocking and the stereo speakers in the back. Now the best part, the engine. And I have to say, this is a very, very well detailed engine. This is harking back to AUTOart's signature series kind of detail. If you look at the strut brace, or underneath it anyway, that's a carbon fiber piece there, which is really nice. It's on both sides, obviously. You have these wires here, lines. You can see the fuel line, which is really now a fuel rail as it's actually called. Very realistic tubing here. It's very nice. The canister for the fluids looks like an actual canister. Nicely done. There is print and information on the top of the electronics box, I want to say. The brace is really nice. You have the Z-tune written there. If you look even further down, you do have the venting back here. It's not perforated, but it definitely looks like it, which is really nice. There's just a lot to take in here. Now, the reason why, you're probably wondering, Dan, I can see everything, but why are you holding this camera so low? It's because this trunk lid does not open that wide. It's unfortunate because you just want to take all this in. There's a lot to see here. I like that there are different colors and textures for every bit. All these hoses and lines. Look at that cap. It's gold. They didn't have to do that. But I'm glad they did. Side profile. Just trying to catch the headers underneath, which is extremely difficult, or at least the turbo. Let's go to the other side. There's really not much underneath there. But this is still, look at that, another container. That's for the brake fluid. There's a decal on the back here. Again, these are just small things that on a lesser model you would not see, but it's all here. It's another angle. It's a little bit further down. You do have this radiator cover here. There's another decal with information. This is a carbon fiber piece, again using the molded version of carbon fiber. You can see the horn, one of them anyway, and then you have the fan there as well. The headlights, plenty of detail there, including the bulbs. And there you are, the Nissan Skyline Z-Tune by AUTOart. And now to my conclusions. Well, I hope you enjoyed the review of the AUTOart Nissan GTR Z-Tune. It is a very good model. It pretty much has everything that I would expect out of AUTOart. It had great details, great features. The paint is fantastic. You may know this, maybe not. There was a Z-Tune produced by AUTOart quite a few years ago. It's part of their Millennium collection. And that one was actually made out of metal die cast as opposed to the ABS material that was used on this particular model. Now, I don't have one of those older ones to do a comparison, but it would be an interesting comparison to see if there are any improvements between the two. But you can compare it to a more recent effort that was made by Motor Helix, and that is coming up in our very next video, so definitely stay tuned for that. I know that some of you are into values. If I was to put a value on this particular model, I would give it the $3 signs. It gets $3 signs because, again, it's a GTR. And yes, it's not a limited edition model, but of course there's only so many that AUTOart will make of this. The actual GTRs, as you may know, have increased in values throughout the years. It's a very popular car. The same thing's going to happen to this model. Please like and subscribe. That is the best way I'm going to know that you're enjoying these videos. I appreciate your time, and I will see you next time.